Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the EEARSS Podcast, produced by Terrier TV here at Titusville High School. I am Frank. That is Bill. We are sadly missing Cindy this afternoon because she is not feeling well.
Yes.
Yeah, we always miss Cindy when she's not here.
She is under the weather, yes.
Yeah. How's this week in school life been treating you?
Good.
The educational world.
Beginning of a new semester. Because we're block scheduling, we get new kids, new students.
Okay, so you once before explained this to me.
It's very similar to a college schedule. Think of it as a semester. You have your fall semester classes and your spring semester classes.
See, I'm all messed up by it because I remember when I went to school here, we switched between both a couple of times.
We only did it one time.
Well,
yes.
It seemed like 8,000
and
times
that's the
in my head.
reason that I went to television production was because of the second year of block scheduling. They needed more electives, and they wanted TV production.
That was the smartest choice this school has ever made, Bill.
And they asked if I would do it, and I said, yeah.
That was a home run and a half, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's worked out very well.
They're still paying dividends for that one.
I guess they're paying something.
Yeah. Are you ready to jump into this?
Yeah, I am. Tell me about our next guest.
So today on the podcast, we are joined by a bit of a legend himself in the crocodilian world. His name's Lonnie McCaskill. Lonnie, thank you so much for joining us.
It's great to be here. Thanks for asking me. It's an honor to be with you guys today.
Lonnie, I've known your name a lot longer than I've known you. I've heard people talk about you for years. It's always been in the highest regard, and knowing you has been an absolute blessing. Tell us a little bit about you, where you grew up, and what you do.
Well, I was actually born and raised in Dallas, Texas, and grew up most of my life there. I still have family, obviously, and friends, many friends there, and started my zoo career there. My father owned a business about a mile away or so from the Dallas Zoo. So I literally grew up going to the zoo, and my grandparents lived in San Antonio, grew up going back and forth between the Dallas Zoo and San Antonio Zoo. A little bit of history about that. My dad's business, it was a laundry and dry cleaning service down the street from the famed Texas Theater where they arrested Lee Harvey Oswald, and actually had friends in high school that were parents were involved with during the John F. Kennedy assassination, the hospital, and that type of thing. But moving on from that, my dad Dallas used to be free, and he would drop me off on Saturday mornings, and I'd wander around the zoo for, meeting the keepers and stuff, and obviously hanging out in the reptile house. And so later on in life, I got my first zoo job as a night keeper at the Dallas Zoo. Spent 10 years there working everything from the primate department with all the apes and great apes and lesser monkeys. Went on to move on to a supervisory position at White Oak Conservation Facility in North Florida, and heard that Disney was opening up something down in Orlando, and was one of the founding members, opening members, cast members of the Disney's Animal Kingdom, and spent 17 years there. In that time doing obviously lots of zoo work, but started to get more involved in field conservation, mostly with crocodilians and turtles. Started doing some foreign field work with Siamese crocodiles in Cambodia. And then from there, went to the Central Florida Zoo for a short time, and moved on to the Prospect Park Zoo as an assistant director, working for the Wildlife Conservation Society. Spent my last 7 years before I retired working in New York at the Prospect Park Zoo for WCS. And here I am today.
That's about 7 careers added into one life, I think.
Wow,
there, Mr. Lonnie.
Yeah. Now, you went through a pretty stellar career, and I've got one question that I want to ask. It is really dumb.
Okay.
So, great apes, when they eat a banana, do they peel it?
Some do, some don't.
Okay.
Individual preference.
Okay.
I feel like that should be a trivia question somewhere because I would have had no idea how to answer that logically.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because oranges, when we gave oranges to them, the gorillas, orangutans, chimpanzees, most of them peeled those, but the bananas, some ate them whole and some peeled them.
Okay, well, thank you, because I've always been very curious about that.
Has that really been something that's been on your mind?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
When he said he worked with great apes, I said, "This is my chance."
I spent 5 years working on primates. It was a total awakening, and a lot of people ask, "Oh, what are the differences between gorillas, chimps, and orangutans?" And there's definitely, there's individual differences, but between the species, gorillas are strong and they're all strong, but strong and kind of thoughtful. But when you're working with orangutans, when they're looking into your eyes, they're looking into your soul. It's almost like looking into eyes of another human. It's really, really different.
Wow. Going back here for a second, you were talking
Sure.
about your early time in Texas. Do you remember some of those early people? Like, you remember the first person that really gave you a chance to start working in the zoo world? You were talking about, walking around the zoos as a kid.
Absolutely. I got to know the whole reptile department at the Dallas and Fort Worth zoos really closely, even before I had my driver's license. I got to do, they taught me so much about working with reptiles and venomous snakes. And we, went on collecting trips out to West Texas. But Dave Barker, one of the key private breeders in the business, took me under his wing, and there were Bill Lamro and a lot of those keepers. Don Boyer, who became curator at the San Diego Zoo of Herpetology, and then moved on to as a curator of herpetology at the Bronx Zoo. We all kind of grew up together. The assistant director back many, many years ago, Jack Joy, took me under his wing. He had a really large reptile collection, and taught me a lot and mentored me. I got to do things as a kid growing up that, man, kids just don't have that opportunity to do today. I was, probably 12, 13 years old when my dad was leaving me at the Dallas Zoo for the day, and I got to know the education director there. And I would every Saturday morning take the baby orangutans from the primate nursery up to the children's zoo, and they would spend the day up there. I would stay up there and bring them back in the afternoon. Got to do a lot of things. Got to do a lot of hands-on work with reptiles there that the keepers really took me under their arm and showed me the way and took me out into the field, out to West Texas, made many trips out to Big Bend, South Texas, collecting. Back then, there weren't so many restrictions. You could go out and basically collect any reptile you wanted to. And we did that and collected cactus. I'm still a plant nut today, collecting plants, from, mostly from nurseries and other collectors, but learned a lot from those guys.
Now, you were talking a little bit about your international work. Did that come along, kind of evolve as you were going through the zoo program, or is that something that happened later on, or is that something you've been doing the entire time?
It's kind of an evolution of things, even from when I was watching Wild Kingdom and all that, on TV, I read a lot about the New York Zoological Society and what they were doing conservation. And in my zoo work, I always tried to bring stuff from the field that I saw animals doing in the field, how they lived, how they acted, and bring it back and recreate it in the zoo. And I wanted to go into the field and take what I've learned with captive husbandry and stuff and add that to conservation. So I was instrumental in setting up a number of conservation breeding programs in Myanmar, India, Cambodia, with crocodiles and turtles for captive breeding and head starting and then reintroducing back into the wild. So I kind of wanted to do the mix, but I always enjoyed being in the field as much as I did working with animals in captivity. Probably more.
And I know you're very into the technology too, using technology for different research projects. You've kind of bridged that barrier between the two types. Can you talk us through a little bit of the technology you use for some of your research and what you're doing with that stuff?
Fortunately, I was a longtime board member for the Turtle Survival Alliance, and through that, I met a Wildlife Conservation Society board member, Walter Sedgwick, who is very interested in technology and how that can be applied with conservation, and so he always said, I think drones would be a really good tool in conservation. And I agreed. It's like drones, can do amazing things. And he asked me, well, why don't you, once I started working for WCS, he asked if I could start teaching some of the field biologists how to use drones. And I was like, well, drones aren't cheap. They're expensive. And he goes, oh, we'll get you a drone. You learn how to fly, and we'll go from there. And he got me a couple of drones and learned how to fly them. And pretty soon, I felt like that was a really good way to a tool to use for not only crocodilians but other types of conservation, turtles and other things. And it occurred to me that when you are doing crocodile surveys in the wild, you're normally doing it at night with spotlights in a boat. Well, to hunt crocodiles, you're out there at night with flashlight or spotlight in a boat. So I thought drones may be another method to be able to do surveys and look for crocodilians without disturbing them, and found that that's the case. They pay little attention to the drones, and it's a really non-invasive way to survey crocodilians. And now with the new, as technology grows, now we have night vision and thermal vision. It's really opening new doors to survey work for crocodilians.
So
and
you're saying that they don't hide from you.
They don't, they all act a little bit different. It's really funny. When I first started training with the drone, went down to South Florida and flew, obviously American alligators are everywhere, flew around American crocodiles, and they all act a little bit different. But none of them really seem to fear the drone. So they're very curious, and it really amazed me how quickly they orientate towards the drone. They know it's there. I don't know if it's sight or sound, but they're very aware that it's there. But they don't have that a fear of it. Some of them, it's a flying object. So if they're a smaller crocodilian, birds take young crocodiles. I'm sure they think it could be a predator or an avian predator. But most of the larger crocodiles really don't fear the drone. So it's really a great way to observe crocodilians, in an area you can't get to by foot. Many times you can't get to by boat because of the aquatic vegetation's so thick. And you can do it at night, almost undetected. So I just thought it was a great way to study crocodilians using the drone.
Now, you've seen a lot of changes in the Southeast, including Texas, since you've been doing research and things around these areas, and I'm sure it's the same globally. What do you make out of that, and how do you think, the wildlife that you're studying adapts to it?
Are you talking about with use of drones or just
all of it? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, to me, the biggest, obviously, to me, the biggest threat to 90% of wildlife is habitat destruction. I mean, in Florida, the United States, globally, people, advance, they want to grow, and you got to feed people, and that's agriculture. So agriculture's, one of it, development of houses and shopping areas. Habitat destruction is the biggest, and that's globally, either through advancement or mining or but the habitat destruction is definitely taking its toll on everything in the wild.
No doubt about it. Now, so we have a lot of families and a lot of young people that listen to this program. If there's somebody out there that wants to get into the world of conservation, I ask a lot of different people this story and this question, and a lot of people have different ways of approaching it. So if you have somebody out there that's a young version of you, right? You at that zoo stage you were at when you were a kid, and they want to get to the same spot you're at one day, what is some of the maybe encouragement you can give to them, or things they could specifically do? Maybe a direction you might point them.
I would say, I am not the example to follow. I'll say that. My formal education stopped at an associate's degree in college, but I would say stay in school and pursue as much college as you can. The science majors, obviously you're going to meet like-minded people. I was very lucky to be in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people throughout my life. I was really, really lucky and had a lot of people mentor me. I try to mentor as many people as I can. I actually mentored your next interview guest a little bit, which makes me feel great, mentoring the next generation. Stay determined, but the new technologies, there's, when I was growing up, many, many years ago, I heard people telling my parents, get your kids into computers, get them a computer. That's the way we're going. And look where we are today with computers. Everybody's cell phone is like a super computer. And I would say get involved with the technologies. Drones is one area that is just absolutely exploding in wildlife conservation. The processing of the data that you get from drones. Another area of technology that I'm very interested in, I try to connect people, and that's bioacoustics. You can literally tell ecosystems if they're healthy or not, everything from marine to rainforest. A lot of it you can tell by bioacoustics. Can you hear the insects? Can you hear the birds? Can you hear, you can also hear the damage, the chainsaws, the guns, motor vehicles and pristine environments. They'll let you know that the environment's under threat. So technology is a way to get into wildlife conservation like never before. So I would highly suggest keeping your mind open to the new technologies.
Well, I'm going to ask you another one that I wasn't even thinking about this until you mentioned it. Well, what do you think the role ends up being of AI in conservation? Because obviously it's getting stuck into everything.
Yeah, no, AI, there's the good and the bad. They're using AI now in some incredible ways. I give you, for instance, in the past, you were able to capture photographs of jaguars or tigers walking by camera traps, or birds or different mammals. Now with AI, you can recognize that individual animal, not just, oh, that's a jaguar. No, that's number 533 or whatever. Or you have, it can identify individual animals. And we worked about 2 years ago with a organization called Wild Tracks, and they are able to use AI to identify individual lions, rhinos, and elephants in Africa just by their footprint. So they're leaving a fingerprint by their footprint, and you can use that, and AI tells you which individual that is. So it's and it also does it with whale sharks. A number of species. It's absolutely phenomenal what AI can do.
All from a footprint.
All from a footprint.
Yeah. See, I hadn't heard that one. That it makes complete sense though.
Sure. Yeah.
And they're on that Wild Tracks has a website, and you can go on and I haven't spoken to to Zoe and her partner and a couple of years, but I'm sure they have advanced incredibly all the different things that AI are doing for them with wild tracks.
Wow. That's okay. That's unique. So what's 2026 have in store for you, buddy? You got big things in plans, things and plans going on?
And actually, I'm leaving tomorrow to train. I'm leaving tomorrow for time in Belize and Guatemala for a couple of weeks, working with wildlife biologists, training them different aspects of how to use drones during the day and at night, and using thermal and night vision. We're also using some large fixed wing, long range, 2-hour flying drones to assay big swaths of land for basically deforestation, both for deforestation and for regeneration. And we're using LiDAR and some other technologies. That's out of my wheelhouse right now, but I'm also going to be learning a little bit more about LiDAR and the use with these big fixed wings when we go down there.
That's one of the things I've admired about you over the years. You're always digging into what the next thing is going to be. Like, okay, what can I do better? You know what's going to be technology of some sort. I'm going to figure out how to do it, and then I'm going to start teaching people how to use it. And it's been really neat to watch.
And I'm not a techno geek by any stretch of the imagination. I'm trying to connect the techno geeks with wildlife biologists and how to make their job easier, more efficient, and to work for better wins in conservation. And then later on this year in March, I'm going to Kenya, where there's going to be a huge technology conference. Mostly focusing on African country biologists, but we're looking probably over 600 or 700 attendees coming to it, which is really exciting. So I'm not a techno geek. I'm not a wildlife biologist, but I like helping make those introductions and networking with people.
That's pretty cool, Kenya. That's not really the place you would expect everybody in Africa to get together and have a conference about something like that, but I guess when you think about where all the wildlife's at, it kind of makes sense as a central area, isn't it?
Yeah, and we hope to, from what we do in Kenya, to try to minimize that so we can duplicate that in Latin America, in Asia, and other workshops, so we can bring some of these technologies, and try to bring up people that can help support the field biologists with equipment acquisition and and training. So that's the main thing.
That's a lot of pieces to a puzzle, buddy.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's like I said, I'm not a field biologist, I'm not a techno geek, but I know how it can affect and improve conservation efforts.
That's special. Well, Lonnie, we thank you a whole lot for taking the time to join us today. This has been awesome.
Well, I really appreciate it. It's an honor to, be interviewed and talk to you. And I must say, I tell many people, I can call crocodiles and use but man, you have got the alligator call down like I've never seen before. I've seen you pull alligators from the bottom of swimming pools up by the calling, but man, it's amazing what you do.
It's having way too much spare time on my hand, Lonnie. That's all it is. That's what's cool about, we do so many different interviews, which I think this is like episode 171 or something.
Wow.
And everybody that comes on has they're truly their gift. You know what I mean? They're like something that sets them apart from everybody else. And whenever you can use that for good, I mean, it just, people take notice of it. And the little things make a big difference,
Well, I appreciate it, and man, it's being on your show is a real privilege and a real honor for me, and it's great to talk with you and the work that you're doing and spreading the word to the next generation. We don't have enough of that. There's too many kids. I want to say technology is the way to go for wildlife conservation, but man, put your computers down, put your cell phones down, and get out and get into the real habitat and see what it's like, we don't have enough of that today, and I'm glad you're promoting that with the next generation.
Yep, you can change a life when you take the time to get them out in the field. I know my main intern we have, she was a pre-med, or not pre-med, she was pre-law. She came out and did research with us one time, and then she went biology track. So it just takes one trip out to change it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just opening eyes, and you have to get out there and experience it. You got to get out there, experience it before it's gone, because I mean, habitat is disappearing so quickly.
The landscape is changing quicker than we can do anything about it, it seems.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you, Lonnie. Thank you so much for taking the time, and brother, just be safe and keep after it.
All right, man. Thanks again. I look forward to seeing you, and I'll give you a shout next time I'm down that way in July.
Awesome. Look forward to it, Lonnie. Thank you, sir.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right, we'll see you. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, he's been to say Lonnie's been a legend in the world of not just crocodilians, but wildlife conservation.
Right.
Is not really saying quite enough.
No, when he was going through his bio, I mean, it's
dude's
amazing.
dropping some bombs, isn't he?
He's
amazing. Talking about being near Eggland and bombs going off in the background. You drop that bio, it's dropping some bombs.
Oh yeah, Disney and just all these different zoos and all over the world. And
people know his name, and he's known for the work he does and just being an absolutely wonderful human. He's a great guy. He's a great guy.
Wow, that's cool.
All right, Bill. I guess another one in the book of podcasts.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning in to the EEARSS podcast, produced by Terrier TV here at Titusville High School. If you'd like to learn more about EEARSS, go over to EEARSS.org, EEARSS, or .com, or AlligatorRobb.com. Robb has 2 B's. My last name, not my first name. Check out what we're doing, things we're working on, and we hope to see you at our EcoFest event in May 23rd in Cocoa Village. Thank you for tuning in. We will catch you guys next week. Bye-bye.